Hi, this is a quick demo of presence in Reflect. So presence is any state in a Reflect application that's tied to the lifetime of a client. A common case is cursors. In this app, we've got, in this demo, we've got monkey on the right, koala on the left, and we've got cursors flying around. And if monkey closes this tab or navigates away or does anything like that, if the connection is dropped, then monkey's cursor should go away. But there's other examples that are common of this kind of present state. One is selection. In this application, when I select a square, like I select the white square, you can see that it's selected on everyone else's screen with this orange highlight. But if monkey navigates away or closes the tab, then the selection should drop so that other people can select it. So this is again state that the selection state is tied to the presence of the client. Similarly, you'll often see like an avatar tray up here in the top with all of the avatars of the people that are connected. And if someone disconnects, they should drop from the avatar tray. All examples of state that are tied to the lifetime of a client or their connection. This is pretty subtly hard to get right, and you discover it as you start to build these kind of collaborative applications, especially in web browsers, because there's a lot of weird cases with tabs. One case is like tab switching. If you switch tabs, then it seems logical that the present state should go away. But what you find when you build an app is that people switch tabs for all kinds of reasons, and often just like momentarily. Like they'll switch to another tab to look at something and then switch right back. Often when they're multitasking, they'll be like doing this all the time. And like some people are even like nervous tab switchers, and they're just like constantly switching tabs, just like when they're thinking about something. And so if we cleared present state every single time a tab switched immediately, you would have a lot of cursors like flickering on and off and selection state flickering on and off. And it would be really annoying. So what you end up having to do is put a little timeout in there to smooth it over. And so Reflect does that for you automatically. If you switch tabs for a second and switch back, nothing happens, the present state is still there. But if you switch for 10 seconds, then Reflect will eventually time you out, and your present state goes away, selection goes away, and if any other state tied to your client will go away. If you switch back, then it just comes back right away. Another interesting case is like unload. Now, in browsers, there's unfortunately not a perfectly rock solid way to know when a tab has unloaded. If the tab crashes or if the network drops or something like that, then you'll never get an unload handler, and so you can't rely on unload handlers for this kind of information. But so normally what people will do when they're trying to build these kind of systems is they'll instead use a timeout. So like if you unload the tab, then the cursor won't go away right away. It'll wait 10 seconds and then it will go away, just like we did with the tab switch. But you can't do that for unload because of the reload button. People will often reload their tabs. They do it for all kinds of reasons. They think something's broken, or sometimes people just do it absentmindedly, or they want to make sure they have the latest state, so they press reload. And if you used a timeout in that case, then you would end up with two cursors, one for the old tab and one for the new tab. And because people will sometimes like reload like multiple times and they're not sure if something's working, you could easily end up with like 3 or 4 cursors at the same time, which would look funny. So you end up actually having to implement the unload handler and the timeout. So Reflect does that for you. So in this case, like if you notice, I have mouse currently. If I reload, mouse will immediately disappear, and then the new cursor will show up, and we never see two. Let's see. Another interesting case is offline. If you go offline, sort of like by definition, no one else is present. You're alone because you're offline. Reflect will notice that automatically, and it times you out. The cursor disappears, and then if we go back online, Reflect eventually notices that you're back online, and you're back. And I guess like the final interesting case is like tab crash. Obviously, if the tab crashes, we need to handle that, even though no unload handler gets called. So if I go in here and kill the tab, Piggy immediately disappears, and we correctly handle that. So these are a few of the like sort of interesting cases of presence. Reflect handles all of this automatically for you. There's a really simple API for it. if you go to hello.reflect.net, you can learn about it under the Presence tab. You basically just call subscribe to Presence, and you get a callback with the currently present client IDs. And the model is that you use this to filter what you render. So you store everything in Reflect using the exact same API. Cursors are stored in Reflect the same way as squares are stored in Reflect, or like any other information you want to sync. Selection highlights are stored right with the other information. The only thing that's different is you can use this information about what clients are present to change what you render. So in this example, we subscribe to what clients are currently present, and we also subscribe to all our normal information in Reflect. And then rather than rendering every single cursor, we only render the ones that are currently present. So it's a pretty nice model to work with. It handles all the edge cases for you, and makes this kind of stuff easy. Give it a shot at hello.reflect.net, and you can let us know what you think at discord.reflect.net or on Twitter at helloreflect. Thanks, bye.